It's always Max Bultman of The Athletic, isn't it? Today we're going over to Bultman's rankings on The Athletic. Who are the best Red Wings prospects? Is the rebuild over? This is part 2 of that mailbag that we were kind of alluding to in the last video. Last time we talked about Seider and Raymond, we went over the first part of the mailbag, but in this video what I wanted to do was just strictly go over the ranking, because what Max Bultman did post-2023 draft was he made the list of the top 10 Red Wings prospects, and I wanted to talk about it. So big shout-outs over the Bultman. The article is going to be linked in the description. We're not going to screenshot anything from that because it's The Athletic is paid for material. But without further ado, let's go over to the list here. It was posted onto the Red Wings subreddit, and the poster ZZE0001 went out there and made the list in the comments. So, let's talk about the top 10 prospects in the Red Wings system with an honorable mention, so number 11, I guess you could say. 11th overall on the list is Trey Augustine, the goalie drafted by the Red Wings in this recent NHL draft. He was the first goalie taken on the board in 2023 selection, playing at a Michigan State University. He was pretty good for the NTDP this most recent season. We'll see what he does when he heads over to the NCAA. But he is an honorable mention, so we're going to go out there and put him there. Let's talk about number 10th overall. Albert Johansson, playing out of the Grand Rapids Griffins. Now, Johansson was a pretty interesting pickup by the Red Wings back in 2019's second round. Left-handed defenseman, pretty decently sized guy. He's 6 feet, 185, and playing for Farjestad in the SHL, he was always a pretty solid defender. Not really the guy with the flashiest point totals, not really the guy with the biggest hits, but just as a regular run-of-the-mill two-way defenseman, Albert Johansson was a pretty alright bet. And he took his talents to the AHL this previous year, getting 15 points in 53 Griffins games. Not bad for a rookie, but of course you want to see more progression out of that. He's 22 years old, and if we're talking about ceiling here, I feel like Albert Johansson has it in him to become maybe, at the very best, a top 4, maybe number 5 type defenseman at the NHL level. There's nothing really too special here, but the fact is he is a solid enough player to justify placing on the list, therefore he is at number 10th overall. Moving over to number 9, this is whom Bultman ranks as the 9th best pick. It is Elmer Soderblom, also out of the Grand Rapids Griffins. Now, he was a beast this previous few years, developing in Sweden, doing his thing at the World Juniors, but eventually he played in the NHL and the AHL this previous year. He had 8 points in 21 NHL games. He had 8 points in 20 AHL games, each with 5 goals and 3 assists. Obviously, you want to see more progression out of this guy because he had split the load half and half between the NHL and the AHL this season. So heading into next year, whether it's with Grand Rapids or with Detroit, we're all just kind of looking for more progression here. He progressed pretty steadily in the SHL from 2021 to 2022, and especially into the 2022 playoffs. So if we're able to see more of a progression like that in North America, then the sky really is the limit here for Elmer Soderblom. A big behemoth of a man, 6'8", and a guy with some really good puck skills for being that size. Moving over onto the 8th best prospect, it is Amadeus Lombardi, taken by the Red Wings in the 2022 draft 4th round. Now, the Newmarket, Ontario native played for the Grand Rapids Griffins this previous season, getting 1 assist in 2 games, but his biggest body of work came in the OHL, because he had 102 points in 67 games this previous season. Talk about a big jump up from being a 4th round pick. Now, if you take a look at the numbers here, he actually was an 03-born player, so he was eligible for 2021's draft, but he wasn't drafted. So getting taken in the 4th round of 2022, that's a little bit more appropriate there. He missed out on his entire draft-eligible season, but heading into this previous year, he really had a bone to pick with the rest of the league, and he put up great numbers to show for it. Heading into next season, we'll see what he does with Grand Rapids. He's old enough to play with the Griffins. Who knows if his dominance, his goal scoring, his playmaking carries over into the AHL, but we'll see. He's a very speedy forward. He's a center who uses that speed to beat players wide, and he really showed off well because of it. Heading over onto the 7th best prospect in the Red Wings system, you've got Sebastian Cossa, also out of the Griffins. Now, he split the load between the Griffins and the Toledo Walleye. He played pretty much the entire season in the ECHL, 46 gosh darn games played, and he posted up the same save percentage in .913 that he had in the WHL in his last season there. Cossa improved in the playoffs as well, posting up a .917 in 7 games played. Now, the AHL sample size he had this previous season was not great, .783 save percentage, .557 goals against, but that was not really the plan for Cossa. They wanted to send him to the ECHL, they wanted him to be the full-time guy there, and he adjusted pretty well to that role. So we'll see what Cossa is able to do next season in Grand Rapids if he's able to use the momentum he got from the ECHL to improve his AHL stock, but whether or not that happens, we just gotta wait and see. The 6th best prospect, according to Max Bultman, is William Wallinder, out of the Grand Rapids Griffins as well. He was recently of Regula, had 26 points in 50 games played as a left-handed defenseman, and now playing for the Griffins, he'll hopefully go out there and show off those same skills that he had in North America. William Wallinder is a big dude, 6'4", 190 pounds, a left-handed guy. He skates like the wind. He is a very, very solid skater, and a guy with just really great edge work, mobility, his left-right lateral movement, it's very great, which is part of what makes him such a valuable prospect. Add on the offensive skill, add on the playmaking, add on his ability to go out there and make offense happen, and you have a very intriguing player profile. You don't normally see guys who are this skilled with their feet be this big. So for William Wallinder, there's a lot of potential here. We'll see what he does in Grand Rapids next season. There's a lot of Grand Rapids Griffins going on over here for next season's worth of play, now that I'm noticing it. But William Wallinder, 6th best prospect. He's ranked on this list for a reason. Let's talk about number 5. It is Axel Sandin Pellikka, the other Red Wings prospect with great skating, who plays on the blue line, who's an offensive dynamo too, except this guy's right-handed, whereas Wallinder is left-handed. Axel Sandin Pellikka, we've made a bunch of videos about this guy. He'll be playing in Sweden, Skellefteå AIK next season full-time. Hopefully his Junior 20 production will translate into the SHL this season, because last year he only had 5 points in 22 games played. However, at all the other international tournaments he played in, he was pretty good. He was also good in the Junior 20 league, so we'll see what Sandin Pellikka is able to do. He's a first-round caliber talent, taken in the 17th overall spot by the Red Wings this previous season, and when it comes to offensive dynamo right-handed D, there are very few of those prospects in the NHL, period. So we'll see if Axel Sandin Pellikka is able to do what it is that he needs to do to get up there, but his potential is pretty high, which is why he's ranked number 5. Moving over onto the 4th best prospect in the Red Wings system, it's Carter Mazur, taken by the Wings in the 2021 draft, 3rd round, 70th overall. He was a really great player in the NCAA the past few years, being just under a point per game the past few seasons. This carried over into the AHL, where in the short sample he had, 6 games, he had 6 points. Point per game right there. Mazur is really shaping up to being some sort of a steal if he's able to take this momentum and carry it forward into higher levels of play, but for now, we just gotta wait, see what he's able to do in the AHL, but he's ranked as the 4th best prospect in the Wing system because of it. Bultman then has Nate Danielson as the number 3rd overall player, and I've already documented my feelings about this guy. I don't necessarily think the pick was the best one at 9th overall, but you can't deny the talent. He is a two-way specialist. He was a point per game this previous year in the WHL. If Nate Danielson goes out there and has the Cody Glass sort of explosion of points next year, then I would probably start to see a lot more value in this pick. It's just, as of right now, he's a two-way specialist that maybe could max out as a middle six center if everything goes really well. But hopefully, next season we'll see a lot more out of his offense, out of his defense, out of his two-way game, and just out of everything in general. Because when it comes to the reaction to the pick, I think there are many fans still looking at the projected rankings and seeing that this guy was supposed to be, let's say, a 19 to 25th overall pick. So we'll see what happens as Nate Danielson grows and develops in the WHL. Second best prospect, though, in the Red Wings system is another center taken in the first round of last year's draft, 2022, 8th overall, Marco Kasper. Now, Kasper is a player that already had himself a cup of coffee in the NHL. He had one game played with the Wings this previous year, and he looked pretty okay. This is a guy who, if he maxes out to his ceiling, he could be just a little bit better than Nate Danielson, in my opinion. Like, I do think he's a lot more solid just all around, and more so as a solidified every situations type of player. But, of course, we still need to look for some more offense. We need to still look more for comfort in the North American space because he had mostly been playing in Sweden and Austria this entire time. So we'll see where Marco Kasper goes from here. He is the second best Red Wings prospect on Bultman's list. And first overall, it should come as no surprise, it is Simon Edvinsson, the Red Wings' 6th overall pick back from 2021. big, left-handed defenseman, 6'6". He's a very skilled skater, and last season he had 27 points in 52 Grand Rapids Griffins games. He also had 2 goals in 9 Red Wings games. Simon Edvinsson has done everything he can to show off that he has been progressing properly, and heading into next season, we'll see if he does play in the NHL or the AHL. Either way, though, he should be a very good complementary piece to Moritz Seider in the long term. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this list that Bultman wrote up of the top 10 Red Wings prospects? Edvinsson, Kasper, Danielson, Mazur, Sandin, Pellikka, Wallinder, Cossa, Lombardi, Soderblom, Johansson, and Trey Augustine. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. The link is going to be in the description if you want to go ahead and read the article and see the analysis done on the players. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.